Good afternoon. This is Jason Carrasio from Connecticut, here to talk about. I'm back in a couple weeks, here to talk about conservative politics. Uh, Here, make sure if you haven't voted, make sure you go out and vote. This is the most important election since 1860. Vote Trump Vance, all the way. Vote for Trump Vance for president, vice president, and make sure you vote for Republicans all the way across. Vote Republican. This is the most important election since 1860. Let's get rid of those liberal Democrats. Been destroying our country too long, and in this state, make sure if you're in the fifth congressional district, make sure you vote for um, George Logan. Make sure you vote for him, and make sure you vote for the Republican that's running against Chris Murphy. I forgot his name, but make sure you vote for him and vote Republican. And I predict that you're going to see some large coattails from Trump, and a lot larger than expected. And I foresee where it with Kamala Harris, she's done a terrible job. This is, I, she was a terrible candidate. I mean, all she keeps repeating is that I'm from a middle class family. I'm from a middle class family. That's all she says. She can never answer the question. Why does she talk about these illegals? You've had, they want to crack on Trump, what he's done. Look how good the shape the country was in when he was in office. And look the job they've done. And she keeps saying, well, when I get in office, I get in office. Well, you've been in office for almost 4 years. What have you done? And I predict that right now, the way it's going, Trump's going to win the swing states. He's going to win Georgia. He's going to win Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina. He's going to win all those. I also predict you're going to see some surprises. Trump is, my prediction, he's going to win Virginia. Republican enthusiasm is at an all-time high. There's more Republicans that have gone out and voted compared to Democrats. And make sure you go out and vote. Don't wait till election day. Things can happen. Make sure you go out, vote now. Vote for Trump Vance and for president. And make sure you vote Republican all the way, straight across. But Virginia and even Minnesota. In Minnesota, the turnout for Republicans is much higher than Democrats. And same thing goes with the other states. I predict that Tim Walz, vice presidential candidate for the Democrats, he's not going to even win his home state. He's not going to win Minnesota. I predict Trump's going to win Minnesota. He's going to win Virginia. He's going to win New Mexico. He's going to win New Hampshire. And he's going to win Maine as a whole. I mean, right now, I believe the Maine splits their votes. So he's going to get some there. He's going to get, was a second congressional district. He's going to win up in Maine, Trump. And so he's going to win that. I believe he's going to win Maine as a whole. He's going to win New Hampshire, Virginia, Minnesota, New Mexico. Here's some surprises I do want to throw in. I believe he's going to win New Jersey, and he's got a good shot at winning New York. Because here's another thing what Harris is counting on. I don't see doing this happening. She's probably counting on all the urban areas are going to come out strong for her. No, Trump's at 50% with the Hispanics, and they're against these migrants, these illegal immigrants coming into our country. They're opposed. The Hispanics don't want these illegals, and they don't want these illegal migrants coming in because it's affecting their communities negatively. And the blacks do not want it either. So right now, Trump's at 20% with the blacks, which is excellent, over 20%, and he's at about 50% with the Hispanics. And you see Trump in the Bronx, how they love them. The blacks, Hispanics really like Trump. If he has those numbers, he wins. Harris cannot overcome those numbers. I predict that, these urban areas, I predict Harris is not going to have a strong showing. It's not going to be enough to push her over the top. What Trump has to do is have a run up in the suburbs and have a respectable showing in the urban areas, which I predict will he do, and he'll win. Like New York, what he has to do is win the suburbs, have a big run up there, or even Connecticut, even New Jersey, win the suburb. Like take New York, for example, win Long Island, win upstate New York, even win like Staten Island, parts of New York City, neighborhoods in Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, Howard Beach, and Queens, win places, even parts of the Bronx, the Rock's Neck, win, parts of Manhattan, window, have a respectable showing in the city. And I predict he will because I said 50% of the Hispanics are voting for Trump and over 20% of the blacks. And those are numbers that Harris can't overcome. But if he has those numbers, he can win New York. As long as he has a respectable showing in the city and he wins all the areas that I mentioned, he'll win New York. New Jersey, same thing. If Trump, he has a run up in the suburbs, which I predict he will. He has a respectable showing in the cities. He's going to win New Jersey. She can't overcome that. And Connecticut here. Um, Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport, Waterbury, all Trump has to do is have a respectable showing in those areas. Doesn't necessarily have to win them, but have a respectable showing, have a run up in the suburbs, and he'll win. Um, by the way, make sure you vote for George Logan. He has an excellent shot in the fifth district to beat Joanna Hayes. Vote for George Logan along with all the other Republicans. It'd be nice to see a Republican congressman from Connecticut. Also, vote for the candidate against Chris Murphy. I just forgot his name, but vote for the Republican candidate for that's running against Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy's a far left liberal. Votes with Biden Harris almost 100% of the time. He needs to go. And I think, and also I like to see here in Connecticut and other state legislatures across the country, this is at the state level I'm talking, to have gains in the state house here in Connecticut, in the state senate. Be nice if they could take one of those, the Republicans. But I like to see them make strong gains in the state house, the state senate here in Connecticut, and other states. Pick up a congressional seat or two in Connecticut along with these other states. That's why another reason why Trump's going to, why do you go to California? Well, the Republicans want to pick up some congressional seats. The same thing with New York. He went to Madison Square Garden, not only because he has an excellent shot at winning New York, New Jersey. Look at his turnout. That would tell me right now, if I was a betting person, he's going to win those states. But if here's another reason why he went is for the congressional candidates too, and in some cases the Senate candidates, but to win some congressional seats. And I predict that the Republicans are going to make, this is on the federal level and on the national level, they're going to make strong gains in the Congress and the U.S. House of Representatives. You're going to see, I predict they're going to pick up 10 to 15 seats at least in the House of Representatives. I think even more, but at least they're 10 to 15 seats. In the Senate, right now it's 51-49. Well, technically it's 49 Republicans, 47 Democrats, and you got 4 independents that caucus with the Democrats. So all the Republicans technically got to do, if Trump Vance wins, which it looks like they're going to do, just pick up 1 seat in the Senate, and then they control the Senate because the vice president is the tie-breaking vote. However, I think the Republicans will win the Senate outright. I think they'll pick up at least 2 seats, make it flip at 51-49. But I think they're going to do better. I think they're going to be up to 52, 53 seats. It's going to be 52, 48, 53, 47. I like to see it as high as 54, 46. The more the merrier. But I predict it's going to be around 52, 53 seats the Republicans are going to have in the U.S. Senate. In the House, I think you might see 235 seats they'll be up to, which would be nice. Again, the more the merrier, but I'm going to give or take, say 235, because that's key. And I predict Donald Trump, and Paul Vance will have obviously the presidency, the House, the Senate, and of course the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court just ruled today about throwing out ballots that were done by non-citizens, which is, thankfully, we have common sense is back on the Supreme Court, thankfully, and that's the way it should be. Why should all these illegals be allowed to vote? See, here's what the Democrats, the far left, wants to do. They want to change this country. They want all these illegals to come in here because it's future votes. Have all these illegals, grand amnesty, and then it's for future votes. That's all it's about. But the Hispanics, the blacks, they don't want these illegals coming in because it's affecting their communities very negatively. And people say, well, how do you deport all these people? It could be done, not a problem. Well, you start with, I believe, U.S. to use the United States Army, the military. I don't even use the Air Force, whatever it takes to deport all these people. Use our military, because these are non-citizens. See, you're a citizen, the Constitution applies to you. If you're a non-citizen, the Constitution doesn't apply to you. So use our military, the National Guard, use the local police, your state police, FBI, U.S. Marshals, ICE, immigration, even the Secret Service, whoever you have to use to deport these people, because these people have no rights. You're here and you don't belong here. You're here illegally. Well, we could deport 90% of them. And you know what? When you start deporting them, others will leave, and these will prevent other people from coming in. Because you see, when the borders open like this, all you're doing is encouraging it. If you start closing the border, number one, number two, you start deporting these people, people will think twice about coming to this country. And I like what Trump wants to do. You come in this country illegally, it's a felony, it's a 10-year sentence, and that's why 10-year sentence, no parole. That's the way it should be. You come into this country illegally, you get caught, it's a 10-year sentence, no parole. There you go. Um, then that will really stop probably 90-95% of these people from coming into this country. Places like El Salvador are pretty safe now because they're draining their prisons. Countries like that have cracked down on crime, uh, and also they're draining their prisons. Criminals are coming into this country, and they know they could get away with it. And Harris, she hasn't answered any questions on what she's going to do about the border. Answer, what are you going to do about the border? That's what should be talked about. And also, the border's part of the reason why too the crime rates going through the roof is because of these illegals here. And there's no accounting for these people. It's a foreign invasion. It's a foreign invasion which requires the use of the military. Um, Listen, there's a process. You can come to this country legal, but the people that have come to this country legally don't want these illegals here at all because they did it legally. Why would they want these illegals here? Which is just only hurting their communities. And but you notice how Harris doesn't answer that? It's like inflation. Look at the cost of everything. I don't care from food, insurance, you name it. Everything's gone up under the Biden administration. Electricity, the price of gas, go out driving. You name it, it's gone up. I mean, how about shutting down the Keystone Pipeline? What Biden did the first day in office. How about fracking? No fracking. We have in this country, like Donald Trump says, liquid gold. We were energy independent when Trump was here. Iran, thankfully, was going broke with that. But we made these countries more powerful by buying oil from them. And we became energy independent. Now we're energy dependent. If, look how much electricity's gone up. We have liquid gold here. We should be using the energy in this country. And you know how many jobs could be created too with that? And the price of energy would drop tremendously. Notice the price of gas when Trump, I remember it was as low as $1.08. Um, I like to see right now it's around $3, 2.90 somewhere there up here in Connecticut. When Trump gets in, I like to see that, and I predict that it will be under $2. I predict it will be back under that $1.50, which where it should be. Um, you're paying a lot for gas. You're paying double for gas for a while there. I think we were paying close to triple for gas, 2.5 times compared to when Trump was president. But right now we're paying double. The amount of gas went up. What price of gas? I would say about 100%. And look at everything else: electricity, food, water, clothes, you name it. It's gone under the Biden administration. What could the Biden administration hang their hat on? All she's doing in that closing argument with Harris, all she did was badmouth Trump, keeps bringing up January 6th, the same old, same old. What about the issues, Kamala? Talk about the issues. Same thing, Tim Walz. Talk about the issues. They refuse to. And it keeps bringing up abortion, 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 which I'm pro-life, and Trump's pro-life. But that Supreme Court ruling, thanks to him, because of who he put on the Supreme Court, brought the issue back to the states where it should be. And which was a good move by the Supreme Court, the rule to bring the issue back to states, and all legal experts have said that. But this is the only thing that you could run on is abortion, which isn't even that big of an issue. She's, by the way, very anti-Second Amendment, anti-gun. Um, so that's another thing to keep in mind. If you're a pro-gun member of the NRA, make sure you vote for Trump because she wants to take away the Second Amendment. She's somebody that wants to repeal the Second Amendment, take away. She wants full gun confiscation, which is pretty scary too. But with her, she doesn't talk about the issues. Didn't talk about the economic issues, how much the cost has gone up, crime, the border, inflation. Doesn't seem to talk about this. How about the housing crisis too? One reason why you have it is because of these illegals. Another reason why people aren't selling their house because if they're paying interest rates of around 3%, why are they going to go buy another house and pay an interest rate of 7-8%? So there you go. That's why there's such a housing shortage out there. Notice she fails to address that. What accomplishments does she have to run on? All she does is badmouth Trump. Doesn't say anything good what she's going to do. It's kind of like my congressman, Joanna Hayes. What does she have to run on? Absolutely nothing. George Logan almost beat her last time. I hope he wins this time. Make sure you vote for George Logan too if you're in the 5th congressional district in Connecticut. And wherever you are, make sure you vote for a Republican. Um, we need more Republicans in the House, more Republicans in the Senate. And all she keeps talking about, Harris, too, is Project 2025, which Trump really hasn't been involved with that. I actually like the ideas that Project 2025 has. Had some very good ideas in there. And those are some ideas I think Trump should consider. But he's not involved with that. But you see that, by the way, Madison Square Garden, look the turnout that he had. They could have filled Madison Square Garden twice. And this is what they used to say, deep blue New York, which, by the way, New York's becoming purple now. New Jersey's becoming purple. Like to see those states become red. And the Democrats have been dreaming for years. Like they've been pouring a lot of money into Texas to beat Ted Cruz. They have all red, very far left wing congressman. They're trying to make the next Barack Obama. They were trying to defeat Ted Cruz. And what did Schumer said that Chuck Schumer said they're the number one target. I believe Ted Cruz is going to hold on. But if you are in Texas and you're listening to this, go out and vote for Ted Cruz. Send money to his campaign, too. We need Ted Cruz in the Senate. I believe he'll hold on to it. In that all red, he's a far left liberal. He votes with Biden and Harris 100% of the time. He is very dangerous. Make sure you vote for Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a dire conservative, knows what's good for this country. He's a success story. Actually, I think you'd be a great presidential candidate someday, along with him, Ron DeSantis, J.D. Vance. Republicans, by the way, have a strong bench, which I get more to that in a minute. But you make sure you vote for, if you're in Texas, you're watching us, vote for Ted Cruz. We need him back in the Senate. We don't want some wacky liberal there. And this dream of the Democrats, the liberals, we're going to turn Texas purple or maybe blue. I don't see how it's not going to happen. And if by a long shot, that's decades away from happening. If that ever happens, then the states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania will turn red. So if Texas turns blue, the states up north, what used to be known as the blue wall, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania will be solid red. And I also predict by then, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and the Northeast will turn solid red. And what's not realized, too, there's a lot of red places up here in the Northeast. Oh, deep blue. It's not as blue as you think up here because the suburbs are red. The cities were known for blue, but I think that's gradually changing. I think the cities aren't guaranteed for the Democrats anymore. But, you're going to have up here, like Vermont has a Republican governor. It's a blue state, but thankfully it has a Republican governor. Oh, if you're up in Vermont, make sure you vote. I believe his name's Phil Post. Make sure you vote for the Republican up in Vermont. And if there's a governor's race anywhere in the country, make sure you vote for the Republican. But I don't believe the Northeast is as deep blue as they like to think it is. There's a lot of red here. New York does have a lot of red. And if you really look at the map of the U.S., it's a sea of red. When you really look at it, it's just, the coastal elites you have. And that's pretty much, about it. In between, there's definitely what flyover country is very red. Colorado, you got in the middle of the country, that's a liberal area, but I wouldn't rule out Colorado. I think Trump has a big chance of winning that. Illinois, I don't see him winning, but I do think Illinois is starting to turn a little bit red, like the southern part of the state's turning red. But there's a lot more red out there in this country than people realize. But this Democrats' dream of Texas eventually turning blue, which I don't ever see happen, not in my lifetime. But if that happens, they don't realize Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania will be deep red. In the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, even Connecticut, other parts of the Northeast will turn red. So that's what they don't realize. They don't realize, so this dream of, we're going to defeat Ted Cruz, I don't see that happening. And like Ron DeSantis says, you have to expand the map. And that's what they've been doing. Remember, Ohio used to be a swing state? It's red. Florida, swing state, it's red. Texas has become more red. Now, Pennsylvania, for years, Republicans couldn't win it. It was fool's gold. Republicans now, as far as they won, Trump won it in 2016. As far as I'm concerned, he won it in 2020, and 2020 was an outlier election. As far as I'm concerned, He won it in 2020, and he's going to win Pennsylvania this year. And I notice it's moving east. You know, the red states are moving east. The red is spreading, and I see the red is spreading into uh, New York, New Jersey. I see it because New York and New Jersey are in play. And then if you look at the Northeast here, the far Northeast, Pennsylvania, I'm sorry, not Pennsylvania, Maine splits their votes of the Electoral College, but the second congressional district is red. You see Maine, there's a lot of red up there. I predict that Trump will win Maine as a whole, and he will win New Hampshire. So it's coming down. The red's coming down from the north to the east. It's moving over, and we're seeing that the Northeast, I predict, will gradually become more red. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time, but I predict that it's, the Republicans have an excellent shot at expanding the map. I really do. And like that's what Ron DeSantis, we have to expand the map. He did that in Florida. Ohio's done that. Make sure too in Ohio for the Senate you vote for Bernie Moreno. Make sure you vote for him, entrepreneur. Make sure in Montana you vote for the Republican candidate too. I'm trying to think of his name. I forget a lot of things going on, but make sure you vote for the Republican candidate too up in Montana. But I think you're going to see Trump win a lot of states. That is very unexpected. Like I said, the swing states, be it North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, he's going to win all those. I predict Trump because turnout's higher than expected for the Republicans. It's been very high to turnout for Republican Virginia and Minnesota. Trump's going to win Virginia. He's going to win Minnesota. He's going to win New Mexico. For Republican turnout's very high there. New Hampshire, they're very anti-incumbent. Trump's going to win New Hampshire. He's going to win Maine as a whole. And I also, Maine as a whole, and I predict that Trump will also win New Jersey, and I think he'll win New York too. And I think you're definitely going to see some surprises. And I think he has an outside shot of winning Connecticut. People might disagree. I really do, because I think a lot of the urban areas, you're going to see more Trump voters there. I mean, here locally in Waterbury, the Republican candidate for mayor only lost by 500 votes. So that's a good sign going into this election, where I think you got, like I said, Trump's at 50% with the Hispanics, over 20% with the blacks. I predict that the urban areas, even if they do go for Harris, it's not going to be as much as she thinks. It's not going to be much to put her over the top. So I predict that you're going to see a big run up in the suburbs with Trump, and I think he's going to have a respectable showing in the urban areas, and you're going to see a lot of surprises. And remember this strategy too. Remember the last time Hyde and Biden, what they tried with Hyde and Harris, that didn't work. And now she's out, was giving interviews with Brett Baier. She's desperate. That's what it is. She's desperate going on these places, interviews. It's not looking good for the Harris camp, and they know it. They're very frustrated. Like Newt Gingrich say, I'm worried about the mental health of those on the left, and I am too. Are they going to riot, these people on the left? They're going to go bonkers if Trump wins, which I say he's going to win Trump. And he's going to win by a bigger margin. People expect he's actually going to win the popular vote. He's going to take the House with him. There's going to be gains. Republicans are going to gain seats in the House of Representatives. They're going to gain seats in the U.S. Senate. And I predict on state levels, I think there's a good chance of picking up one or two governorships. I think there's a good chance of picking up some state legislative seats. Like they're going to make gains in the state House, make gains in the state Senate. I think you're gonna see that. I think even in Connecticut, Republicans are going to make gains in the state House, state Senate, even other states too. And there's an old saying, not that I was a big fan of Tip O'Neill, but all politics are local, and I believe that all politics are local. And I predict George Logan's going to win the 5th congressional district here in Connecticut, and Joanna Hayes, I don't know her. What does she have to run on? She's just another Kamala Harris. She has nothing to run on. What's her track record? What has she done in Congress? She can't run on that. All the Democrats are doing is these scare tactics. Look at the closing argument with Harris. What'd you talk about? January 6th and abortion, and that's it. Nothing about the immigration. Nothing about the migrants, the illegals coming in this country, nothing about the crime, nothing about inflation, what everything's cost, the issues that are affecting most Americans. She did not talk about that at all. It was a terrible closing argument. Look at Trump and look at his rallies. His rallies blow away what Harris gets. It's not even close. And by the way, I think J.D. Vance did a great job in that debate with Tim Walz. I believe he's the future of the party. See, the Democrats really don't have a good future. They don't have a strong bench. The Republicans do. And the Republicans, thankfully, have moved away from the party of the Bushes, McCain, Mitt Romney. They've moved away from that, which is a good thing, into Trump, J.D. Vance. Of course, we always have Ted Cruz. And then you have Ron DeSantis in Florida. Let's not forget about him. I think he's a very good candidate, Ron DeSantis. Keep in mind for president. He's done a phenomenal job in Florida. He knows how businesses are going there. And the only reason why Ned Lamont here in Connecticut, who's just trying to be another, what is it, Gavin Newsom, Gabby Newsom, Newsom out in California there, he's just trying to act like him. Whatever he does, they try to do in Connecticut. Now, true, we've had the largest tax cut in state history, but you could thank the Trump economy for that. And you could think that there's been a big influx of New Yorkers down the lower part of the state, which is uh, it helped them out, which has brought in more tax revenues. Why is the state having these surpluses? Well, we're overtaxed in the state to begin with, but we've had this big influx of New Yorkers. I think Trump, his tax cuts helped Connecticut a lot, spurred the economy, which made Lamont look good. He's looked good because of a Republican president, but he won't never admit that. By the way, it's Gavin Newsom. I apologize for mispronouncing his name. Um, eh, so I apologize for that. But I'm just saying how Connecticut is copying California. Um, Gabby Newsom, I can never get his name right. Gabby Newsom, he's a far left liberal. I think they might have had a better shot at running him for president. But like I was saying, Lamont's trying to be him here in this state, but it's not working. There's been a backlash to it, and only reason why Lamont looked good because he had the influx of people from New York and the Trump tax cuts, which spurred economic growth. Um, but uh, make sure too. One thing I want to say: I don't know if you went out and vote. Make sure you go out and vote now. And by the way, I find it disturbing too that Biden is called Trump supporters garbage. That's wrong. That just shows how desperate the Democrats are, and all that's doing is firing up Trump's base, calling us garbage. That's horrible. That's terrible. It's just like when Hillary Clinton called us deplorables too. So you're calling half the country deplorables. Oh, um, Biden calling at least half the country garbage, maybe even more than that. And how about the fact that too, with Harris calling us Trump supporters Nazis, or those on the left calling Trump supporters Nazis. So you're calling half the country Nazis. Geez, at Madison Square Garden, I didn't see any Nazi flags. I saw Israeli flags, a lot of Hispanics, blacks there. So this thing about this is a sign of desperation. Actually, they're Nazis. They're the ones that want to shut down freedom of speech. They're the ones that want to put people in jail like Trump because you disagree with them. That's what the Nazi does. It's the Democrats that are Nazis. They're socialists. They're far left. They're Nazis and they're communists. That's what they are. They're far left. They want to take away the First Amendment. They want to at least restrict it. They want to take away your Second Amendment. And they want to prosecute people who they don't agree with. And that's dead wrong. Um, Even the whole situation with the mayor of New York there, I think that could be a situation of they don't like because he spoke up about the migrant crisis, which he's right. Eric Adams, he's right about what's going on with the migrants, how New York can't handle it. And I think this is why they went after him, possibly the FBI. I'm not saying I agree with everything with Eric Adams, but some things he's made sense with, like with the migrants, things like that. And because he spoke out, that's why they decided to go after him. But this is what the Democrats do. If you don't agree, they come after you legally. It's called lawfare, which is pretty scary. And like Peter Navarro called them, the lawfare jackals. Well, fortunately, January 20th, when Trump gets in, a lot of people got a clean house, get rid of Jack Smith, get rid of Mayorkas, get rid of Merrick Garland, get rid of all these bureaucrats. One time I used to say, I like civil service, which judge people based on merit, but now I'm saying no. Political appointees are good because you could get rid of them. Civil service, these liberals get in there, they're forever, they're lifetime, because most of these left wing civil servants, they can't hold jobs in the private sector. That's why they're there. So um, that's why I said I was one time favor. Said now I'm against civil service. Let's go back to political appointees, and then Trump could get rid of these liberals and put in conservatives in there that truly believe in less government and getting the government out of our lives and our pocketbook. And Elon Musk, I thank him for coming over to realizing that the Democrats are just atrocious. They're ruining this country. They're making this country into communist China. They're ruining our country, making us a socialist country. Um, and I'm glad that Elon Musk is decided to go with Donald Trump. And what do he say? Get the government out of our lives and our pocketbooks. And he's right. And there's a guy that's a success story, true American success. And he realizes too that what Biden and Harris want to do, all they've done is just ruin this country. If we get another 4 years of Harris, things are going to be even worse. Thankfully, that's not the case. If we get Trump in, we could turn around this country. And I believe that once Trump gets in, Democrats are going to have trouble winning future elections because this is just going to keep rotting up. Remember, for 12 years, the Republicans held the White House. People didn't forget about all the damage that Carter did. And then remember, he had Bill Clinton run, I'm a new Democrat, because he knew that the old ways didn't work. The Democrats being far left and socialist and communism, that doesn't work because that's what they are. You're socialist, communist, that's what they are. And so he had to run as a new Democrat. But I don't see the Democrats having anybody on the horizon that could change the party. That's a moderate or a conservative Democrat. I mean, Joe Manchin was chased out of the party, and I just don't see much future for Democrats. And if anything, I see the Republicans expanding the map. And this is a big change from 12 years ago, from when Barack Obama won in 2012. That may have been the Democrats' high point, although the Republicans did win in 2010, the House of Representatives. And maybe you could say 2012, that was the high point. 08 to 2012, that was the high point for the Democrats, although Obama ended up getting less votes the second time than the first time. Could have been the high point, but ever since then, they've been on the decline. Maybe just not. The decline has been gradual. Didn't happen all at once, but the Democrats have been in decline in the last 12 years because the far left wing has taken over their party. Anybody that's a conservative Democrat gets chased out. RFK, I'm not saying I agree with RFK and RFK Jr. I don't agree on everything, but he does make sense. They chased him out of the party. They chased Joe Manchin out of the party. And this is now the results they're getting, and it's not good for them. They're scared. They're on the run. They don't know what to do. They're desperate, the Democrats, and you could see it in them. You see that and they know the future doesn't look good for them too. So they're running scared. They have a lot of soul searching to do. The Republicans have to continue to expand the map. Pick up congressional seats, Senate seats, pick up governorships, even in the state house, the state Senate. They have to make gains there. Even if you try to make gains with the cities too, pick up some, big city mayors like a Rudy Giuliani, who by the way, I will say was screwed over. He didn't deserve to have his assets taken away from him. Nobody got hurt what he did. Listen, there's people that hurt somebody, killed somebody, you sue them, you don't get that kind of money. That's crazy. That's that civil case I have a problem with. That's, to me, that's just like the mafia. You're taking away somebody's money. No, that is dead wrong. He didn't hurt anybody, and that's crazy. That case should be appealed to the Supreme Court. Listen, civil cases to me could be just as dangerous as criminal cases. Maybe they can't put you in jail. They take away your property, your money that you work for, and that's dead wrong. And I feel bad for Rudy Giuliani because he did a phenomenal job as mayor of New York City. But, we're winding it down here. I'm not sure if I'll get a chance to have another show. If you're listening, vote for Trump Vance 2024. Vote for all the Republicans. Vote for George Logan, 5th Congressional District. Make sure you vote for Republicans all the way. Senate races in Ohio and Montana, vote for the Republican, vote for Ted Cruz in Texas. Um, Even donate some money to the Republicans, but you have to vote Trump. If you haven't voted already, because we have early voting, vote Trump Vance 2024. Vote Republican all the way. And this year, we want to see a real red wave. In the future, I just want to say, because of the election, I'm talking about conservative politics. I will be talking about some mafia history, later on. Once the dust is settled from the election, I'll be talking more about that. Angela Gotti has a very good show on here. Always tune into her. She's on at night. Very good show. I tune into her all the time. I know James Proctor also has a very good show. So tune into that. By the way, maybe the Yankees can make a comeback in the World Series. They won last night. They got to win 3 in a row. I believe it could be done. I believe the Yankees still have a shot to win the World Series. They got to win tonight and then go out to LA and win two, which could be done. I believe it could. 1958, they were down 3-1. They won Game 5 at home, and then they won out the other next two in Milwaukee. So I believe they have an excellent shot at winning the World Series. Some people may disagree. I feel that way. I always want to see New York beat LA. Want to see it beat up on the left coast, but I believe the Yankees have a good shot at winning the World Series. But as for what I'll be doing once the election passes, thus I'll be talking more about Mafia history. Lee Cole, too, by the way, has a good show on here. So, well, just going to wrap it up now. Again, not repeat myself, but make sure you go out and vote. If you haven't already, get your friends, family, whoever, go out and vote. I think we're going to see some surprises in this election. Trump's going to do a lot better. He's going to win the popular vote. He's going to win a lot of some deep blue states, I predict, too. So I say vote Trump Vance 2024 and vote Republican all the way. Thank you for listening, and talk to you soon.